G'day everyone, my name is Dana and I have 2 poems to share with you tonight. Stanwell Park. The blush beach air freshened, the white sun glared, where the heath on the dunes lay bare, invaded by bitter bush, lantana, bridal creeper and fireweed, smothered. At the hilltop by the cliff, the paraglider's canopy puffed, and life and death seemingly bluffed. It was a sign, stay down here or climb up. A voice says, you're late with manning up at 20. Another voice, gentle with scorn, says, thanks Peabody, I wish I'd never been born. One grey ironbark lost the white flower from a bud tuft when the first voice, sour, finally pondered from the forest what would be to be 40 budded Junes. You shall see, the pilot laughed, and I, and then the first voice joined in laughter. You see, all life decisions are hard before and after. Whatever happens, this paraglider must fall. Flying since early morning light, I make a call. Fancy me a zookeeper, or so I've dreamed. One way or another, I'll land at Symbio Wildlife Park and join the team. And this is a sequel, Garden of Eden. Why yes, 2 sexes emerged at the Garden of Eden, growing in the blurry distance from where long I stood and looked up to trans womanhood, to where it bent in the cliff face. Then looked at manhood, just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, be fruitful and multiply, commanded God, our first parents begot and begot, wherein both sexes really about the same. And both at year equally lay, and leaves almost no steps had trodden black. Oh, I decide the second for another day. Yet, knowing how way leads to way, I doubt I will ever backtrack. I've been telling this with sigh after sigh, with or without a theology degree. 2 sexes emerged at the garden, and I, Teresias, struck a pair of mating snakes, and that has made all the difference. So a bit about me before I ask my question. So as you probably would have gathered, I'm a trans woman. I'm also almost finished with my Masters in Theology at the University of Notre Dame, which is a more traditional Catholic university, so you can imagine that most of my lecturers and what have you are nuns, priests. And I've been doing it part-time for a couple of years, and it's been particularly challenging. I've challenged myself in a way I hadn't exactly planned, and almost finished with my dissertation on whether the trans experience, my experience for example, can be reconciled with the teachings of the Catholic Church. And I've got myself in this awkward position of, well, philosophically and theologically, the teachings make sense, that I won't be detransitioning, and nor would I tell any other trans person to detransition just because I'm about to get a theology degree at Notre Dame. And so I'm in this awkward position of, well, how do I intellectually move forward from that? But I've also picked up writing poetry in recent times, and as I've written more, it's like the old saying on those coffee mugs, keep calm and carry on, in my case, keep keep writing poetry. And my one and only question was, the style of written these two poems is in the style of your 19th century English poetry kind of style. And I'm just curious to know, for a contemporary audience, how much that worked or didn't work for you. Thoughts?
I think as a poet, you know, my starting point is if it works for me, it's good enough. I think if it, you know, if it hits, it resonates with the reader, that's a bonus. But I've wrestled with that myself about my particular style, which sometimes is metaphysical or, you know, or is, I don't know, comedic or whatever. But it's what you feel comfortable with. It's what expresses what you feel you want to share with the world. Lovely.
It seems to fit your persona as well. You know, that sort of old English style, whatever you said, you know, it fits your energy.
It feels very true.
Yeah.
And so it feels, it's genuine, absorbing, because it feels very true and honest.
Thanks for listening tonight.
Cool.